Hi, Beth Strathman here with a quick leadership tip for you today. And today my tip is I want you to just observe the various behavior that goes on in your organization, particularly at the leadership level, and in particular the difference between those you would describe as more masculine versus those you would describe as more feminine. Now keep in mind that every person, male or female, is a combination of masculine and feminine traits. But the research shows that most women, for example, tend to have more female brains, and men, of course, tend to have more male brains. And of course, we know the hormones that are going through our bodies, if we are male versus female, also add to that. And let's pile on all the way we were raised in whatever culture we grew up in. So there are behavioral tendencies that happen between the genders. And so I'm really talking in broad strokes here, but I want you to look at what kinds of behaviors your organization tends to reinforce. Because if you're a woman in the workplace, you know this quite well, and that is that often your behaviors are misinterpreted by the corporate culture you're in and the men around you. So for example, women, again, broadly speaking, tend to seek relationships, and they want to create relationships, good relationships in the workplace, and to maintain those relationships, keep them intact. Men, on the other hand, tend to want to prove their prowess and their strength, so they tend to be more assertive or aggressive and more competitive, looking for ways that they can prove themselves. So how does this play out? Well, women, for example, because they're looking to maintain relationships, will tend not to brag about their accomplishments. First of all, I don't want to appear as though I'm above other people because I'm trying to maintain relationships. I don't want you to think I'm better than you are. And secondly, if I have to brag about it, it kind of diminishes any recognition I got for it, if that makes sense. Men, on the other hand, because they don't define themselves primarily, usually, by their relationships, they're defining themselves by their accomplishments and the way they perform at work. So they don't have a problem bragging about their accomplishments. Hey, look at me, I did it. I did what I set out to do. So that's just one small thing that you're going to see. Of course, women, through that relationship lens, are more into collaboration, and they will ask people to participate in things and give them a lot of input on some of the projects that they're working on, because they value not only the connection with the people, but they're always looking for a lot of different ideas that they can bring to the table, because the more ideas, the more input they get, the better the end product will be. That's how the female brain thinks. The male brain, on the other hand, looks at collaboration as, well, this is just a way for me to test out my ideas and to and see if my idea is really as good as I think it is. So it's sort of competitive collaboration, in that I'm just kind of like gonna suss out who has what I think is a good idea versus not. So anyway, this is all to say that just look at behaviors in the workplace, maybe through a slightly different lens going forward, and look at what your corporate culture tends to reinforce. Does it tend to reinforce the more feminine side of the continuum or the more masculine side of the continuum, or is it a good mix of both? Because, this is important for people. If you're getting evaluated under a certain set of conditions that aren't natural to you, of course you can adapt and you can learn to play the game, but it certainly doesn't make the workplace a really fun place to be. So that's my tip for today. Just kind of be aware of the different ways that people do contribute in your organization, masculine versus feminine, and see how the culture lines up with that.